treasurers, Carrie Salee here. I just wanted to jump in and do a quick video on the audit form that you will be completing in July. Now, this form is super easy if you've kept up with all of your reports throughout the year, but sometimes it can get a little bit confusing, so I wanted to go over it with you guys just really quickly and just point out some things that sometimes get either missed or forgotten or anything like that. So you will actually print this off directly from the BPTO Weebly site, and it comes with a bunch of pages, which we will go over. So let's just start from the front. This is the cover. And then here is where it talks about the things that have to come with your audit when you turn it in. You need a copy of your June 30th bank statement. You cannot complete the audit until July 1st, whenever that June 30th bank statement is available. So just keep that in mind. But the good thing is you can gather up all the information before that, as much as you can. Right here it says a copy of your annualized treasurer's report from July 1st. Which will be for you guys, which is July 1st of when you started. So I'm recording this for the 2022-23 school year. So that would be July 1st, 2022 through obviously June 30th of 2023. Obviously, if you're watching this in the future, your dates will slightly change as far as the year goes. And then a copy of your final, it says a copy of your final budget with actual income and expenses. So super easy. This annual treasurer's report right here is actually just going to be that electronic check registry that you have hopefully kept all year. So that's just going to be your check registry with the columns of debits and credits all totaled at the bottom, so make sure those are totaled. And then, of course, a copy of your final budget to actual. You should have been keeping that all year, so the only thing you should have to add is anything that happened in June. And the reason we need these is because you will use those to plug in numbers here in just a little bit. And obviously, if you did not use the electronic check registry that was provided for you guys, feel free to turn in if you used Quicken or Excel or any of those kind of things, just whatever you use to keep track of your debits and credits all year. But you should have, for this line, you should have two separate documents. You should have your annual treasurer's report, which would be your check registry, and you should have a copy of your final budget to actual with your incomes and expenses listed. And then, of course, this just says verify some lines, which we'll go over in a second. It also says you need a completed Square PayPal sales report. That is this final page back here. It just asks that you go for Square, PayPal, and then if you use another like Stripe or something, and just each month, how much sales did you have? How many fees did you have? And then subtract your fees from your gross sales, and how much was actually deposited into your account. You will need to do that separately for each of these types. And if you, for some reason, used a fourth type, feel free to print 2 copies of this page and label it appropriately. But it does need to be filled out by month. And to go along with that, you should go into your Square, your PayPal, your Stripe, whatever you used, and you need to print out a copy of your report from July 1st to June 30th, basically just showing everything that goes along with your Square and PayPal. And then, of course, this bottom says completed audit form, which is this, which we will go over right now. A few things to keep in mind down here. All audits need to be done by and turned in by July 17th. Typically, that date is July 15th, but this year, July 15th falls on a Saturday, so we gave you guys a couple of extra days. You're going to drop off this form and all of this documentation that we've asked for at the BPTO administration office at Tiger. That's, of course, where we have our monthly meetings or bi-monthly meetings. You do not need to turn in your binder. You're going to give that to your incoming treasurer or keep it if you are reprising that role. The only time we need your binders is if there is a problem with your audit and we need to verify things. So keep that audit or keep that binder for yourself. All right, so let's go into the actual audit. So this is page 1. Super simple. You're going to put your school's name here. And then this is information you'll have to get from your secretary. So secretary, number of total voting members, and this estimated volunteer hours for all members. Some keep track of that, some don't. So just do the best you can. It does say estimated, so just do the best you can on that. All right, so let's get into the numbers. So this first one is going to be your beginning check registry as of July 1st. Now this is going to be the number that was given at the beginning of the year. Now this might differ from what your July statement said was your beginning balance, but what we have to do is we have to account for any outstanding checks and credits that were left over from last year. So if it's different, that's okay. But if you should have been given that at the beginning of the year, and that's the number we're going to base all of this on. If you have questions about that, feel free to give me a call. All right, and this number 2, now this gets a little funky, so just bear with me. It says total receipts from July 1st to June 30th, and it does say here deposits and credits. So anything that was deposited, anything that was a plus into your account, you're going to write right here. And then you're going to add these two lines together. So you're going to add, it says right here, total cash is what you started with, plus any deposits all year. And this number right here, your deposits for the year, is going to come from your check registry. So as you total up your total deposits and your total withdrawals, however you have them labeled, you might have it, but basically all the positives added to what your beginning check registry balance is, and that is what you put in number 3. And then number 4, of course, is going to be anything that is a minus from your account. So that is going to be any checks you writ, any automatic drafts, anything that comes out of your account is going to get listed here in 4. And then we're going to take, and just as it says right here, you can kind of see it says right here. So your balance on hand as of June 30th is going to be this line 3 minus line 4. So line 3 minus 4 will give you line 5. And it's going to sound weird, and I know, but it really does just beginning check registry plus everything that came out in the year equals number 3. Number 4 is everything that came out of your account, and that gives you number 5, which is your total balance. So here's where this information for your overview is going to come from your budget to actual. So you need these total numbers from your budget to fill out this section. So just your total, obviously it's super easy. Your fundraising income goes right here. And then next to it is expense. So anything you spent that fell in your budget to make those fundraisers happen. Then plus your total membership, and then an expense for your membership. Some people do raffles, some people do giveaways. So make sure if you've spent anything to get those members, and that's how it's logged on your budget to actual, it goes right there. This will not apply to everyone. There are some accounts that will have interest accruing from Arvest. So you will put that in there. But again, that does not apply to everyone. All right. And then right here where it says other income. So that is anything that does not fall under fundraising or memberships. This doesn't happen a whole lot, but it could be someone gave, $1,000 grant to your PTO, but it wasn't fundraising and it wasn't membership. So there's typically not something right there, but if there is, just make sure that all of these numbers, once you add your fundraising, your membership, your interest, and your other, so these 4, you're going to put those right here. And it gives you the little note right here that your total income right here at number 10 should match this number right here up at number 2. If these numbers do not match, then you are missing something probably in here on your budget to actual. Some number just maybe got transposed or something. So if these two lines do not match, if 2 and 10 don't match, you need to do a little research and we will reject your audit and you'll have to fix it. So just fix it beforehand. So it even says right here that this should equal your line 2. Then down here is going to be your Square, PayPal, or Stripe, again, if you use something other than those. So it's going to be the total for your year. So you've got all these right here. So then you're just going to total them together. So all of your total sales for the year for your Square and PayPal, minus the total of all your fees for the year. And then, of course, your net total is gross sales minus your fees, and this will be the exact amount that was actually deposited into your account through Square and PayPal. All right, next page. All right. So here is a couple of places where you might need to do some explanations. You know that you are required to roll over at a minimum of $1,500 for your next PTO to start with. However, if you are keeping a large amount of money, say you're doing a large project for either playground equipment, iPads, computers, anything large that you're carrying over sums for, or if you planned on spending something this year and you weren't able to, so you're holding that money over, you just need right here just to explain, and there's a couple of reasons we do that. Number one, the biggest reason is if people are leaving the board and a new board is coming in, this allows your incoming board to know that you've already promised that money for someone, and that way that board doesn't accidentally use it and give it to another project without meaning to. It also just verifies for our accountant that there is a purpose for all the money that was gathered, because the goal always is to spend the money the year that it is raised, so that those parents see the fruit of all of their hard work with their fundraising. But like I said, if it's a large project or sometimes things happen and you're not able to use it, we just need that written down there for your incoming board and for our accountant. Right here, you're going to see just a little place for you to write if there's something that you know of that is wrong with your financial reports. You know, like if your budget to actual, if you went over that 10% leeway, you need to explain why that happened. So here's the part that can get a little funky for people, so just bear with me. So this is going to be what we call the reconciliation report, and it's just basically, do you have any outstanding checks and do you have any outstanding deposits? So you're going to start by taking the ending balance on your bank statement for this year, and you're going to put it right here. And then if you have any checks that hadn't been cashed that you know you've written, you're just going to write them here, the check number and the amount, and you're going to total them. You're going to total them right there. And then you're just going to subtract this number from this number, so line 1 minus line 2 goes right here. And then you're going to do the same thing if you have any deposits. Say you had a check that you were expecting for a spirit night or whatever that you know was part of your budgeted amount and your budgeted income. You're just going to put it here, the date the event, like if it was a spirit night, and the total, and right here. And then you're just going to math. Right here, you're going to take this line 3, it says right here, total of line 3 plus line 4. And here's the kicker that always throws people. It even says right down here, it says your line 3 plus your line 4, it may not match your June 30th bank statement. And that's because if you have outstanding debits or credits that go on this school year, those have to be accounted for. And so that's why it might not look the same as June 30th, but we need to know so that we account for those funds correctly. So don't freak out if this number right here does not match your statement. The only time this number will match your statement is if you have nothing outstanding. So keep that in mind. It's going to be okay if it doesn't match. There's a reason for that. All right, a couple more things we're going to go through. Of course, make sure you fill out up here and state who your president and treasurers are. And then you have to come up with a committee. So you're going to get a committee of 3 people that do not have signing privileges at your school. They have to be a member. So they have to be listed on your secretary's membership log. And they cannot have signed, so they can't have, any time during the school year, they cannot have been a person that signed a check. And what their job is to do is just basically to go through this is where you do need your binder. They're going to go through your binder and they're just going to double check the same stuff we did at that mid-year eval. Just making sure, do we have 2 signatures on checks? No one is signing checks to their self. Do we have all the proper documentation for the checks and the deposits and all that kind of stuff? And so here's just a little review for them, just to remember, hey, do they have all the treasurer's report? Are signatures on checks being done correctly? Are deposits being handled correctly? All that kind of stuff. And then there's places if they need to leave comments and say, check number 1232 is missing a second signature, something like that. That's their chance to write that information. They can use the back as well if they need to. Hopefully they won't. And then, of course, there is place right here for other comments as well. And then you can see here there are places for them to print their name and sign. And of course, you can see there are 3 places. And then, of course, their phone numbers, just in case we have any questions for them. And then once all of that is complete and you've got your documentation, so reminder of documentation, you need your check registry, you need your budget to actual, spelled that wrong, for the whole year. You need all of your Square, PayPal, Stripe, etc. I think those are the ones we use. Reports that you print from their website. And then once you have, and then of course your June 30th bank statement. Perfect. And then of course we already talked about this last page. And that is the audit. Like I said, if you guys have kept up with your reports, it's just a matter of hitting the total button on some of them and then just plugging those numbers here into this sheet, or these, sheets, this entire form. If you guys have any questions, most of you have my phone number. If not, feel free to email Bentonville PTO treasurer at gmail.com. And just let me know if you guys have any questions, or leave them down in the comments for this video. And hopefully this has helped just to get clarification on what some of these things mean, and what needs to go in each of our little spots here. So anyway, hit me up if you have questions, either in the comments or by email, and I will be happy to help you guys through that. Thanks so much, and have an amazing day, and you got this. The audits are not scary.